5, the red pill, and B1 combo. Me and him was talking about this in the chat. So as soon as we get done here, we're gonna actually have that debate over on my channel, because like a lot of these, like we debunked that so much in chats, but generally people won't get up on the panel. You know how you just froze up just now? That's usually what happens when you tell somebody to explain how feminism destroyed the Black community. So I got somebody that's gonna come over and debate me on it when this is over, but I was hoping that maybe he would answer right here. We still waiting.
Yeah, and 5 knows that I'm very familiar with who he is. So I want to see how he came into this dusty pathology, because the red pill pathology wasn't always his, and I know for a fact. And he knows I know for a fact too. So I'm interested in hearing what he has to say.
In general, I want to give 5 an opportunity to speak, because he just came up, and I don't want to act like you're not here. So
I appreciate that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Absolutely. Peace to the panel. Peace, Taz. Peace to everybody. Salute. All right, so I just want to be real quick with brass tacks, because this dissension that we have between the genders is, it's not surprising. They said it's a slave narrative, and it was a Louisiana slave owner back in the 1700s who said, "Let us make a slave. To make a slave is to make a perpetual child." So that's basically what we are. That's what I'm hearing from Black men and women nationwide. We're perpetual children, and we keep dancing around the obvious fact that we're going to have to engage in physical warfare against our oppressors. That's both of us, male and female. The females are going to have to sabotage our oppressors, and we're going to have to eliminate them. We're going to have to close the deal, and that's just brass tacks. Everything else we're talking about is dancing around the obvious fact. We're going to have to engage in physical warfare against our oppressors, both of us. So I just wanted to interject that.
I disagree.
You disagree, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, and Irene, thank you for having me on. This is a really good dialogue. But there was 2 observations that I made in the chat and listening to the panel. And it means, basically, it makes for very trivial discourse. We really can't have meaningful discourse. There was a gentleman in the chat that said,
accountability on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, this would be a great place to start. So let me know when y'all ready to start collectively holding these Black men accountable who get on here and say it's okay to beat up women. Let me know when y'all ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We got a real problem with these Negroes on YouTube. All the manosphere, I don't even want to say their name, but all of those are clowns and cowards. But I want to say this, because there's still no balance, because we're perpetual children. Let us make a slave. To make a slave is to make a perpetual child. So we're still no balance. Now, I want to say this. We have to use the right.
Why do we say that to each other, though, man? Why are you saying that? Why are you saying? Because I don't believe we're perpetually children. I believe that's an excuse to be that way. Like, we can't keep telling ourselves that low level shit and then expect growth.
We are acting like perpetual children, Taz. This is a prime example of it. Listen to this discourse we have, and it has no balance. It's full of pathology. It's a lot of rhetoric.
So what example would you need because we're not discussing anything with a historical backdrop. We're just having a conversation. But when you start talking about perpetual children, I don't know what you mean, because I've never been anybody's child outside of my own parents. So I'm like, you have to explain what that means.
Yeah, exactly. I'm explaining it, because when the discourse turns into an argument, that's childlike.
My nigga, we men, dog. Men argue. I don't know where y'all get this children argue thing. Men argue, dog. Women argue. Adults argue. It's okay. I just think a lot of y'all don't have the arguments to argue. You see
I
what
don't
I'm
know
saying?
You guys are you guys gonna have this discussion over on your channel, Taz?
we are. I ain't into that. Yeah, we are.
We
Yeah.
are. So no, because I was gonna say I wanted to, if you could, do you have it set up already, Taz?
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanna close it out here, and then
Okay.
we can continue the conversation over on Taz's channel. But I wanted to.
So can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Taz.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm clear because so you said since its inception. So the problem is the inception of feminism goes all the way back to Sojourner Truth. You know what I'm saying? I can take you all the way back to the 1850s while we were still on the plantation yet, and still you have women pushing for feminism. It just as a blanket statement. So I'm trying to make sure we're doing this as a whole because when you mention Jet magazine, now you're going back into 100 years ago, and then that is also another set of. So are we saying feminism in totality, just the whole thing, or are you just talking about the more recent, since the Oprah Winfrey, since the Essence magazine, whatnot?
Absolutely. When I reference Essence and Jet, that's the progression of Black women adopting white feminism, and that's how it progressed in our community. So the Jet and Essence, that's 80, the 90s. Feminism, the inception of it, and when Black women adopted it, it was anti-family. That's by design. And not all Black women, I want to be very, very clear, not all Black women, but a large percentage, particularly those who follow Bell Hooks, particular those who follow Alice Walker, and that book Bell Hooks wrote that, I mean, obliterated Black men. And that is like a classic book in the feminist literary community. So I'm speaking about that demographic of women, and it's a large group of them, Taz. We can't argue it. So what I'm saying is feminism is anti-family.
Based on what? Where's that coming from? Because here's the problem with laying out as an argument. The Black Panthers pushed feminism throughout the movement. And anytime you look at that time period, what we find is the Black women that did trickle over to the quote unquote feminist of power still based on their race argument. So they didn't join hand in hand in a united swirling effort with white women. Black women's fight in feminism was always based on their rights in America, and that right was pushed and supported by Black men back then. See, Huey and Bobby and the Black Panthers at that time, they pushed feminism. Even Marcus Garvey in the UNIA pushes feminism. You had every group of Black men always took care of your issues within your group, and then outside of that group will protect and deal with what we have to protect you from everyone else. But women's issues were for women to deal with. Men were never so involved in women's issues that men were the voice of feminism. That's asinine, bruh.
I didn't say they were. I didn't say they were. Taz. And I don't know if any. I don't know if H. Raj Brown or Huey or Stokely. Nobody has been the Black Panther supporting feminism. I don't know. I don't see any documentation or any historical record of it. Feminism feminism was a white woman's issue with her man oppressing her. Our issue is white supremacy slash racism. That's what our focus was and still should be. There is nothing separate from white supremacy racism and eliminating it and replacing it with a system of justice. Our women, our men, that's our fight. Anytime you split it into a gender thing where because black women were never oppressed by us. We never had the power to oppress them. So that's a move. Them jumping on that bandwagon, first of all, that was by design with that's number one. And it made
That's a false argument in itself, though, man, because Black men have oppressed Black women by simply leaving them with children to raise on their own. That's a level of oppression. Like we can go through the numbers of domestic violence and all it's different ways that men have oppressed their women long before now, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't make it sound like men have not been oppressive by nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the numbers speak otherwise to what you're saying, bro.
I understand that, but the dynamic in a relationship and offspring, that's, first of all, you can't have a, you can't, it takes two to make a child. That's number one. And if a woman opens her legs to a male and he usurps his responsibility, then that's both of their fault. He's not oppressing her. She made a dumb decision by opening her legs without vetting a man, and he's not a man, a male.
Bro, okay,
and that
wait.
male is a male.
Are you kidding, bro? Once he leaves her with a child, not only is that oppression, but it's also the abandonment itself of the child is also a level of oppression onto the child, bro. Like, how could we think otherwise?
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying that's not a systematic thing. The woman didn't get forced. She didn't get raped. You see what I'm saying? That's not a systematic thing.
But she chose to deal with the man who didn't stand up and take his responsibility. So if you have a bunch of men who aren't going to take their responsibility, what you end up with is women banding together to try to stand together against the oppression of those men. Hence, the original feminist movement started by white women. According to your argument, black women would have done nothing different than what white women had already done 100 years earlier. But that's just not historically accurate the way you present it.
Well, when I'm Taz, prior to 1966, there wasn't no 75% single motherhood rate in our community.
Right.
The marriage rate was the marriage rate was very high. Back in the day, if a black woman was a single mother, they used to send her down. I'm from DC. They would send her down south. And this was like in the early 70s. So that was.
But you also had a lot of men who were creating babies and had other homes that they were trying to take care of all at once and couldn't do all of that at once. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't deal with everything that happened during this time period. Marriage does not necessarily mean that the family structure is perfectly fine.
It doesn't.
It just means you have a documented, relationship or whatever. But that don't indicate perfection within the household.
It doesn't. It doesn't. You're right. You're right.
No, absolutely. Oh, okay. I was gonna say no. Hell no, I don't. I mean, okay. Right. So here's the thing. Let me see here. Like, okay. So for example, when you have women on the front lines fighting, for example, like Angela Davis, and the Soul Dad brothers, when she went there and tried to get them out or whatever, and was involved with that, you didn't have this question about feminism because women were involved at the same level as men within the movement. Once men start going to jail and losing power to that white man, instead of coming home or creating the next set of warriors, they started pointing the finger at women. Now, what you're talking about as feminism really isn't feminism because, I mean, if you just want to be technical, these women continue to fight against the quote unquote oppressor. No matter what you say about feminism, in its core, it's still a systematic fight, right? When you say it's still systematic at its core?
It is, but it's not a systematic fight against white supremacy. It's a systematic fight against patriarchy. It's a gender.
For black women, it would be though. For black women, since its inception, that's what it's been about. Because again, so for example, let me show you this. So when the Black Panthers, again, like I keep going back to them because they are the best example of it. When you had sisters that needed a rally, for example, they're going to organize it, they're going to put it together, you're going to get the speakers and whatnot, but what's going to be paramount? Free our sisters. Who going to be speaking? Sisters. What's this going to be about? Sisters. This is all about sisters, sisters, sisters. You see that logo down there, right?
Yeah, I see.
It's still them, fam. You know what I'm saying? So again, pushing for women's rights, these are black women. Black men know historically the white man has oppressed his own woman. So what would make us think that they're going to let ours come in through the door equally? No, y'all know what y'all got to fight for equally with women. We don't. So y'all fight, we got y'all back, whatever you need. Here you go, strap up. Matter of fact, here, go take a picture with these guns. It's on like that. We are black men definitely push feminism. That's how you get strong black women.
Yeah, I can't qualify any black man who pushed feminism. I would call him a male, and I don't even, brother. Like I said, I don't have no record of that. Not H. Brown, not U.P. Newton, not Stokely, and our prominent black female scholars like Dr. Shahrazad Ali, Cresswell Singh, Dr. Joy DeGruy. I can name a bunch.
Scholars based on what, bro? What are we basing scholarship on? Because I know y'all like throwing that word around. You know what I'm saying? Like
scholarship based on what? Those are actual scholars based on European.
Based on what?
Okay, let me finish, brother. When I qualify them as scholars, I qualify them as scholars on black history and political science and legalese, or American jurisprudence, which is what these laws that these Europeans wrote. That's what it is, American jurisprudence. That's what I qualify as scholarship. Now, scholarship in the European community, going to their schools, that's another story. But when I say they're scholars based on their intellect and knowledge of legalese, American jurisprudence, Western political science, black history, and white supremacy. So that's what I qualify them as scholars. And they have literature. They have written literature that has changed lives, black lives, positive. So that's what I qualify. That's what I define as a black scholar.
But when we start laying it out, what we see is a community full of uneducated black people who are now growing because they can do the research themselves. So the people you refer to as scholars, I always bring them into question, since we have such a community that's been downtrodden and we ain't been educated on a whole lot of things, and people just now coming into a know about a lot of things that I just happen to learn from my grandmother. I just happen to learn from different sources throughout life. So now that I see everybody coming into things that I knew a long time ago, yes, bro, it makes me question those scholars, because why aren't you building other scholars? Where are the rest of the scholars? Where are the new scholars? Everybody's not Dr. Francis Cresswell Singh. Everybody's not a Dr. Carter G. Woodson. So just because somebody's a quote unquote scholar by word, that don't mean they can bring the information and transfer it to people in a way where it would be beneficial to the community. Shahrazad Ali was a detriment. She ain't no benefit.
No, that's completely false, Taz. Shahrazad Ali, a detriment, that's completely false. There are black women right now in sustained mergers. I know 4 of them that have read both of her books. Her books help black families paramount. Come on. You talking about
and she created black men, bro. She told black men to basically, you know what I'm saying, to smack your women up and all that. You know what I'm saying?
She got 2 books, brother.
Right, but what she didn't do was talk to women in a respectful way as a woman. She played the gender war card, bro. She played the gender war card.
She didn't, Tad. She has 2 books: The Guide to Understanding the Black Man and The Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. She talked to both of us in brass tacks, but she did not.
You believe that she can write a guide to understanding you, bro?
She wrote it, brother, and it's
No, I'm asking you a question about you yourself, though, as a man. Do you think Shahrazad Ali could write a book on how to deal with you as a man?
Yeah. Yes, she
right.
can.
And so for me, it's an insult for a woman to think that she can write a guide on how to deal with the GOAT. That's an insult. That would be an insult for anybody other than my mama, my daughter, or my wife. Or somebody who, you know what I'm saying?
It's not specific to you, it's in general. You would have to read the book, Taz, but the book is paramount. And the results speak for themselves.
I couldn't even get through it, fam. I couldn't even get through it, because what you got to understand is I see through the levels of propaganda when they put into our community. Then I seen her on TV. All of this different levels of muling she did throughout the community. It made black women at this point, now they tired, bro. Black women tired of hearing that type of shit. Ain't been no results.
That's not all the way true. I know black women right here in DC that live by Dr. Shahrazad Ali's book, and they're in marriages.
They call them mules, bro.
Mules?
Yes.
I don't know what that term means. These are stand-up sisters, brother. These are queens. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You might
Okay.
not.
The reason why they're called mules, bro, because any woman who's told to accept less is muling, nigga. I have a daughter, and I would never tell my daughter to accept less.
She never, brother. See, that's what I'm saying. You got to read the book. See now, because now it's not disingenuous because you don't know you didn't read the book, but that's false. She never taught black women to accept less, ever. You
handhold. Okay, so I don't know how quick of a synopsis do you need, but what I'm saying is hold the hand. What I'm saying is hold the hand holding of black men from women is not necessary. The scolding of women like you better do this and you better do that in order to keep you a man, that's not necessary. That's called muling, bro. Like she can't from her position tell any woman how to do anything.
That's not what she does, brother. But what? And you're right.
I'm not a heel, bro. That's come on, bro.
What? Okay, look. Black women have to be held accountable just as we do, and we cannot deny that. We can't deny.
Held accountable. Let's deal with that. By who, bro? Who need to hold accountable?
Black women have to hold black women accountable, and just as we got to hold black men or males accountable.
Okay, in regard to what though? In referring to women, what?
In regard to relationship pathology, in regard to intellect or lack thereof, in regard to discipline or lack thereof, in regard to knowledge of history or lack thereof. Black women have to.
No, I disagree with the history part, bro. Okay, so here's the thing, man. Like my grandma gave me a lot of history because she's the historian. But my grandfather taught me a lot that had nothing to do with the book history, the real life history. And so flipping the roles around now and being here today, I don't expect my wife to be the one that's teaching the history to the world per se. That would be me, and she learns a lot of that through me. So I don't know how we as men would put the onus on women to teach our children at this point.
I said them. A black woman is more effective communicating to a black woman than we are.
Right, but who's communicating to the black girl, the child, as she comes through the process?
Mother, the black woman has to do that.
No, dog. What? No, dog. Okay, so
like it's just like TAZ. You are a black man. It's your duty to check and hold black males accountable if they're dysfunctional. That's your duty. That's my duty.
I agree.
It's the same thing for our women.
And but see, here's the thing with that when you say, because listen, I have a daughter, bro. So I'm trying to figure out because no man outside of me is going to hold my wife, my daughter, and my mom accountable, dog. See what I'm saying? That's why, like, I deal with this from a real perspective and not just the any old perspective. You ain't holding nothing accountable with my last name, bro. See what I'm saying? So you out of pocket even thinking you can hold mine accountable. See what I'm saying? Like
personal.
I know, bro. But listen though. Listen to me. What I'm saying is you have to expand my mindset to a community of men now. But the problem with that community of men is they don't want to protect their women. They don't even want to protect their mama. They don't care about protecting their daughter. They don't have a woman to protect. You see what I'm saying? We're dealing with a community that don't have none of this in place already. So we're dealing with talking points.
Well, these are valid talking points that we have. Conversation rule the nation, so we got to have these discussions. I'm not debating the pathology of black males in the community, engaging in dysfunction, being over-sexualized. I'm not debating that. I challenge and lean on them Negroes all the time, in person and online. I'm not debating that. I'm saying that this is a balance. So yin yang, the black female has to be held accountable by other black females. Black men have to be held accountable and hold other black men or males accountable. If they're a male,
But fam, because when you say that, you lose me. Because listen, how do you know women ain't holding each other accountable?
Because of the results. Look at the results.
Well,
Over
okay,
promiscuity.
I
Promiscuity in our
hold
community.
hey fam, I hold other men accountable. You said you hold other men accountable. Look at the results. Does that mean we ain't doing it?
No, it doesn't mean we ain't doing it. It's just not enough of us. That's all. But there's positive results, and there's no black men around me that engage in any type of hypersexuality. I shame them, and none of my men are deadbeat fathers. I don't hang around deadbeat fathers, and I know a lot of them. I shame them in person. So that's what I'm saying. Black women
Right.
got to do the same thing. They got to
But,
shame promiscuity. They have to
but
shame
what shaming got us though, fam? Because listen, this is why I've removed or you know what I'm saying as best I could. I'm and still in the process. But bitch was originally some shaming language. Okay, that shaming language turned into a problem. So shaming don't work. We know that because we tried the bitches and hoes and y'all sluts ain't shit. We did all of that for a whole generation, fam. All we did was created a problem. So shaming ain't gonna work. We got to do it a different way than.
I don't agree with the name calling part. I don't use the B word either. So I don't agree with that. But we have to shame dysfunctional behavior, Taz. If we can't punish our people physically, we gotta shame them.
I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with roasting some niggas, bro. Like I'm the GOAT, bro. That's what I like. But what I'm saying is, how is that changing or fixing something? We got to get beyond thinking that shaming or dragging somebody can fix something. It doesn't fix anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get where you're coming from, and yeah, I don't want them niggas around me either. But that ain't gonna get that child taken care of. That child gonna be in the streets in 5-6 years robbing niggas because ain't nobody took no time out to deal with the actual issue. You shaming the dad, but like nigga, the dad ain't gotta grow none. The dad ain't gotta do nothing different. So shaming isn't really a level of accountability.
Shaming is effective, Taz. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when people get shamed, other people tend not to engage in that behavior because they don't want to be shamed. That's why you shame people. I'm not saying it's the most positive way. I'm saying it's effective. It's a form of a consequence. We have to have consequences for our pathology, black men and women. Shaming is one way that we can enact consequences. I don't have children and I will never be a deadbeat dad. So I shame deadbeat dads and males who are hypersexual. I shame them. I make them look
not even knowing their plight though. See what I'm saying? That's the bad. And see that, like, and I'm not even trying to knock you, but that's what I'm saying. You say you don't even have kids, but then you shame a deadbeat dad. Okay, but you don't know that mother might be keeping that man from that child. You can't.
I have to know the situation.
I'm just saying, fam, shaming as an umbrella is not going to work. You know what I'm saying? We need a better option in that. And what I'm saying is, on levels of accountability, the call out is the most we have. Okay, cool, we doing that. But having said that, well, shit, black women doing that shit too. But it's just, it don't work that way. It don't fix nothing. That's not the fix.
It's starting to fix things. I'm seeing it on the grassroots, Taz. You'd be surprised. Because you know what it does? I'm not saying shaming is the only thing we should be doing. But shaming is one tactic. Calling them out, bringing the dysfunction to the forefront, that's another tactic. Ostracizing, that's another tactic. But what it does, it implants the subconscious mind, because that's where our problem is. It's in the subconscious mind. So when you shame people, or when, like in DC, we call it joning, you know what I'm saying? Or crap, roasting, you know what I'm saying? When you roast people, when you joan on people, they think about that shit when they go to sleep. They think about that shit the next day. It's in their subconscious mind. You see? So the behavior can change. I have been shamed for doing stupid SHIT stuff in the past. And I started to do different because I was shamed. So I'm saying it works. It's an effective tool. We got to do it. We can't get around it. We can't get around it, Taz.
Okay, so here's the thing though, but this is what I need you to understand. So you just said shaming is a tactic, call out is a tactic, and to ostracize is a tactic. But here's the thing, bro. I need you to understand that the call out is to shame the person, which is supposed to lead to the person being ostracized. That's actually one tactic. That's all one tactic. It's literally the call out culture is there to shame the person so everybody will ostracize them. But we don't even realize that's just one tactic. That is literally only one tactic. And it's a tactic that doesn't work. That's what I'm saying. Like, because you name that as three different, but it's not. That's one tactic, and it doesn't work. We have to move beyond that one and try to figure out a better way. And I mean, I'm not saying that a moral argument is going to work either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have the answer, but what I'm saying is the answers we're given aren't legitimate answers. You know what I'm saying? That tactic does not work. Calling people out on either side. You can call out the woman who's doing dysfunctional behavior, or you can call out the man that's doing it. If they want to engage in it, that's what they're going to do.
Well, no, it works, Taz. It works. You'd be surprised. It works. It works. It's working right now, especially on YouTube. What's her name is doing it? Danica is doing it. She's holding black women accountable.
Bro, I don't know nobody who watch her, bro. Like, for real. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that she don't have watchers, bro, but I'm just saying, like, in conversation, she don't come up like, yeah, and she held us accountable yesterday. Like, you know what I'm saying? That ain't how this works, fam. Like, I know people like to hear different things and whatnot on here, man, but like, if we could hold people accountable, YouTube would be it would be a better place, bro. People they don't have to have integrity.
You're right. You're right. Especially the manosphere Negroes. I can't stand none of them. I just destroyed them niggas like 3 weeks ago. I don't even want to call their names out, but I just destroyed them niggas on their panel. So you're right. I don't want to cut you off, brother, but I don't want to get this misconstrued because I'm for my people.
You good, bro. You good.
I'm for my people, but this is what I want. That's what I want our people to understand. Black men, black women, we gotta hold each other accountable. It's gonna take brass tacks. We can't be worried about our feelings, because our feelings is our problem is we're in our feelings too much. We can't hold back. And anybody that's not B1, they're our enemy at this point. But a black woman who is engaged in black feminism, she's an enemy. A black man who is engaged in swirling and any other type of pathology, that's our enemy at this point, because they gunning us down. And we ain't start shooting them back yet in droves enough. So that's how I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know. I don't see any other way.
Right. So, okay, here's my thing that I don't get about when we get into it, because to me, I don't think our plight as men and what we have going on is similar to women's. And so when you say black men, black women, and because you say it every time, I don't know why when it comes to the fight, we put women right to the forefront of it. Why are you putting them to the forefront?
They're not on the forefront physically, but they got to engage in espionage or sabotage. They got a part to play, and they can't be running around thinking that they just gonna sit back and
espionage and sabotage.
Yes, espionage and sabotage. That's the woman's role in warfare.
Wait, man. So what you think this like? Okay, so you gotta explain. Give me the scenario, man.
The scenario of espionage.
Yeah, how it would what?
Black women have to start spying and getting intel and information on confirmed.
I know visual white supremacists, let's say. I don't think they pose the threat that the institution of white supremacy poses. I'm not saying overlook the white supremacist threat. I'm saying when it comes to the fight, my fight is with the system, and their little soldiers better not get in my way. I'm not necessarily needing intel on individuals. I'm not following the logic there.
But the system is a collection of individuals, Taz.
No, it's not. The system is the system, and it can be replaced in any individual that they want to promote and put into it can. The system is going to run regardless, no matter what people or person you got in there.
The system is a collection of white supremacist individuals, Taz, men
No,
and women. That's what it is.
It's niggas involved in the system, so we can't even limit it.
It's coon Negroes. It's coon Negroes involved in it too.
No
What I'm
matter
saying,
what,
we don't have.
we could even call them white supremacists by default, but just the fact that you got black people involved in it is better that we just leave it at the system.
Right, but it's a collection of individuals, is what I'm saying. We don't have to have an army. We don't have to have thousands of black women unified on this forefront. That's why Neely Fuller in his book is paramount. It's called the United Independent Compensatory Concept. So you move by code. You see, if our code is eliminating white supremacy and replacing it with a system of justice, then all we need is 1, 2, 3 black women moving on a code. And this is warfare. So that warfare code has to be, number 1, espionage and sabotage. Right now, that's what it got to be. And our warfare tactic got to be the physical one, the execution of it physically. That's what it has to be, because they're murdering black men and women on camera and getting away with it.
Okay, so here's the thing though, man. Like this is what I'll never get, man. You saying spying? I'm trying to figure out now.
I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example without saying too
much. Mitch McConnell, what are we talking about?
Let me give you an example without saying too much. They killed the brother here in DC a couple months ago, right? I'm not gonna say too much. They killed the brother over here in DC.
Who is that?
Cops.
Okay.
MPD,
right.
DC police, white DC police. All of them are terrorists. They killed the brother. They killed the brother up here in DC in November. His name, I'm not even gonna say his name, but this is the fact. Intel, female black women on the street, found the location of the white cop who did it and related back to those of us who needed to know. 2 weeks after they did that, some brothers in PG County ambushed his brother, who was a Prince George's County white cop, ambushed them, all 3 of them. 2 of them are dead. You can look this up. Prince George's County, Maryland, in November. All off the intel that the sisters because when they killed the brother in Northwest DC.
So that's the system?
The sisters, when the white
How did this impact the system, fam? How is the system impacted by that though?
How is the system impacted?
Yeah, I mean, because again, we trying to put a dent in the system. You know what I'm saying? I have a feel good moment.
It wasn't a feel good moment. It was a consequence. That's what we got to do on a large scale. They have to have consequence. White supremacy has to face consequences for attacking us. That's one realm. They have to face consequences. They're cops. They're cops in badges who are really terrorists. If they shoot us unarmed, they got to get smoked.
Right. So you want black women to go out and find these people for black men to deal with?
Black women have to engage in espionage.
Right. So they have to go find these people.
They got to be on code. If they're on code, the information is going to come to them because they work with these people. You see what I'm saying?
What's the code, bro? What code?
The code right now is the United Independent Compensatory Code for victims of white supremacy. That's the code.
Hey, bro, so you done read a book and adopted the code that this nigga applied in his book as?
Taz, I read 60 books in the last 8 years. A lot of books.
But you saying that's the code though, bro. And I mean, let's be honest, man. Nobody. But